Welcome to the Manhattan Project. This is day 4.
Today, Jordan and I went out to the not premiere, but right next to the premiere, same building, of Ingrid Goes West. Take a look. Alright, we're out here in downtown Brooklyn, going to the Alamo. I don't know, there's not much to see right here. I got my Yeezys on. I didn't know this was an event. So Ingrid Goes West is a new dark comedy drama directed by, what the hell's that guy's name again?
Matt
Spicer? Something like that, whatever. Starring Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen, as well as smaller roles from Wyatt Russell and Ice Cube's son, Osei Jackson Jr. The movie premiered at Sundance earlier this year, and it follows Ingrid, a stalker character who gets obsessed with an Instagram celebrity and then drives all the way to the West Coast to try to assimilate herself into the celebrity's life without the celebrity realizing that it's a single white female situation. Take a look at the trailer.
Are you insane?
Anything else I need to know about Ingrid?
All right, Dorota, what was your expectation for this movie going into it?
Nothing, because I didn't watch any trailers, read anything about it.
You've seen the poster, though. I know you have, because we looked at the poster together the other day.
It looked neon and very weird, and
I
didn't know what the movie was about.
Did you know it was a comedy?
No.
So did you think it was going to be good, though?
No, I literally had zero expectations. I ended up really enjoying it, though, because of that.
Hey, spoiler, we're not up to the fucking review part yet, asshole. Anyway, let's get right to...
I don't know the formula of this. I'm sorry.
Here's my take on the movie. Ingrid Goes West is an entertaining enough dark comedy that talks about and investigates some interesting subject matter and character dynamics, but ultimately can't recover from the fact that its protagonist is a truly detestable human being. You agree with that or disagree?
I disagree.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. And as Elizabeth Olsen said, it's really fucking funny, so...
She said it in the Q&A.
She did. She swore.
She did?
It's cute.
Yeah. What did you think of Ingrid as overall as a movie?
I mean, it was enjoyable. I had a good time. Yeah.
No flaws?
None that I can see from just the layperson's point of view.
Fair enough. I don't think I liked this movie quite as much as you did. I certainly think it has a lot of flaws, and one of the major flaws with that, aside from just having a really unlikable character, like I said before, as your protagonist, which was hard for me to get past, is that, like, a large part of the movie is a satirization. It's a satirical look at, like, vapid Instagram culture, celebrity fame culture, internet culture, followers, and stuff like that. And the jokes and the observations it's making about this culture and people like Elizabeth Olsen, who's being, like, you know, she's like a Kylie Jenner type, but, like, you know, not as famous. It's not that witty or on point or interesting. It's certainly nothing anyone hasn't already said a million times before, and that's sort of the issue, is, like, what is the purpose of this movie when all you're doing is making, like, shitty, like, low-hanging fruit jokes about, like, what is obviously culture that deserves to be made fun of. Like, everyone makes fun of avocado toast and stuff like that. And not to mention that, like, it's making fun of movies for being, like, for these things, like, up to the minute and, like, millennial culture. And yet, when it drops references to stuff like Netflix and Chill and Cards Against Humanity, it's doing it in kind of, like, square ways anyway. You know, the characters sometimes say young people shit and talk like old people writing young people, which, I mean, the screenwriters, which was the director and his friend, are not, you know, they're not in their 50s, but they certainly aren't 22 or 23, and that's kind of an irony there. It's like you're making fun of these characters, and it's almost like you're not hitting it quite there all the time. But yeah, mostly these things wouldn't bother me as much if the movie was a little bit funnier, and if Ingrid wasn't just such a detestable character, right?
Well, actually, I think that it's really important that Ingrid is a very detestable character. Like, you're supposed to be uncomfortable with her for the entirety of the movie, because, I mean, life is uncomfortable, and, like, it represents a real part of our reality, this Instagram culture, this obsession with social media, right? Like, it's good that we're uncomfortable with her. We shouldn't like her, is the point, I think.
But, like, then why do we have to watch a movie about this character, though? That's something that I don't find enjoyable. And I get the reason why. The message the movie is literally trying to say is that Taylor, Elizabeth Olsen's character, is actually not that different from Ingrid, Aubrey Plaza's character. They're just more extreme versions of each other, where no matter who you look up to or think is more popular than you or has their life together, everyone has the same insecurities, and that's what we should get out of this. I get that. But why make me watch a movie about a character that's that crazy and detestable instead of just like drill it down to like a more regular person? I guess that's what movies are. But like, I don't know, it particularly bothered me that this movie starts with our protagonist Ingrid doing something ridiculous and crazy, not to have stigma against mental health issues, but like it's a character that has severe mental health issues and therefore ends up in a psychiatric ward. She's in a mental hospital on medication. And then the character gets out of it, and then the movie begins, and she continues to do the crazy shit she was doing before she got put in the hospital. And she's our hero. Like, we're not supposed to like her the whole time. I'm not going to, like, pretend that the movie thinks that, like, you're going to agree with her. But still, though, why do I have to watch a character? What's the value of watching a character that's that bad? And I'll say that the best thing I'd like the most about this movie is when they do start to develop her finally at the end of trying to understand how she became so debilitatingly obsessed with social media and, like, isolated and whatnot, and you know, they draw it back to a thing that happened with her family in the past, and they connect her with Wyatt Russell, who I think is one of the best parts of this movie, playing Elizabeth Olsen's husband, and that's where this sort of parallelism comes in. But then again, I have these issues where it's hard to reconcile with the fact that you're bringing some grounded reality into how a character like this could exist, and she still, like, literally is just cartoonishly detestable, spending $60,000 of inherited money from her dead mother to go across the country to stalk someone like single white female style that she literally, discovered on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, the movie, I guess, does have some flaws. I think, I think the fact that she is detestable, like I said, is a good thing that the movie did. You're not supposed to like her. I think that she is cartoonishly detestable, and I think that sort of juxtaposes, or maybe is supposed to represent how cartoonish our obsession with social media is and how ridiculous it is from, a normal person's point of view, a non-millennial's point of view. So I think there's reasons for why this character was written this way. I think the movie's hilarious and I really enjoyed it, so.
Another good thing I'll say about this movie, because again, I want to make it clear that I didn't hate the film. I just find some large problems with like what it is philosophically and sort of its purpose that I was trying to figure out through the whole thing, and then when it finally gets to it at the end, I'm like, yeah. But one thing I liked a lot was O'Shea Jackson Jr., who, this is like one of the first things I've seen him in since Straight Outta Compton, obviously Ice Cube's son, plays this like real estate screenwriter who's obsessed with Batman and is like always vaping, and he's actually a delight in this movie. Every time he's on screen, it's either like really funny or like actually surprisingly poignant, and where the movie starts to be like more towards reality. And maybe that's just because you take like a breath of fresh air from all like the making fun of Instagram culture, because he's the one character that they never really discuss the internet with, and it's not about millennial culture. It's specifically, he just is a person, right? But I loved him in this, and that's like definitely one of the things that elevated this movie, because that dude is a talent to look out for. Yeah,
I agree. He was fantastic. Definitely the best part of this movie, 100%.
Also, I love my girl Elizabeth Olsen, my favorite Avenger. She is doing something in this movie that is kind of different than what she's been doing before. Like, we talk about Aubrey Plaza is always being monotone, always being weird, always being kind of tomboyish. Here, she's a little bit different. There's a little bit more layers to her, and she produced this movie, so it sort of makes sense that she'd dive into this character more. But still, as a performer, I'm not a huge Aubrey Plaza fan. I think she's good at what she does, but I think what she does doesn't have enough nuance to it yet. It's kind of like the things that people made fun of Michael Cera for 10 years ago. I sort of feel that way about her, and this movie didn't convince me otherwise. Elizabeth Olsen, on the other hand, is doing something that certainly fits her image. She's got a great look for like a shitty Instagram celebrity, and her voice fits, and she performs it really well. And yet, this is not necessarily how she's been in other movies, and I totally bought into it. I think it was great casting all around. The whole movie is very well cast. Another thing I can say that's positive about it.
I agree with that, too. The movie just did a really good job at getting into the different layers of each character as the movie progressed. Like, I never really felt bored, and I kept learning something new about every single character in the movie throughout. So that's a plus. It's always good.
It does, however, we talk about like the movie being a tension between reality and cartoonishness. It's like, as much as the movie really tries to go for like the real feels at the end and be like, this is what happens in real life, and this is how these characters are real, it also has a ridiculously over-the-top character who I don't know the actor's name, but he plays Elizabeth Olsen's brother, and he's like a cokehead, and the dude's funny, like he's a good performer, but it's shit like that again, where it's just like, even if I'm laughing at him, it totally brings me further and further away from ever buying into the characters by the end of the movie when you're supposed to feel something. And I certainly didn't feel anything other than just like contempt for Ingrid. And maybe I'm a bad judgmental person for feeling that way, but like shit irked me in a way that like not necessarily the filmmakers wanted me to have it do throughout the whole thing. I think they wanted me to think Ingrid got redeemed at the end. Ingrid didn't get redeemed for me. I'm not going to spoil why, but maybe you felt differently if you see the film. Let's talk ratings. To me, I say, if you saw the previews, you're a big fan of Aubrey Plaza, you like dark comedy, there are worse things to see out there, so you could probably give it a shot. You might like it. It's got a couple laughs, and it's definitely one of the funnier things I've seen in a while. And it's always nice to just support smaller movies that are kind of offbeat. I know this was like a Sundance movie, so it's one of the bigger indie movies as far as indie movies go, but it's still better than seeing like a fucking studio movie. So yeah, check it out if you wanted to see it. If you kind of knew what this was about, and you were interested in it because the trailers were appealing to you, I think you'll get what you're looking for. If you saw the trailers and like that looked kind of dumb or stupid or weird, definitely avoid it because it's not what you didn't think it was going to be. If that makes sense. And your recommendation?
I would say go see it. Like, I went into it not knowing anything about it. Based on just the poster or the look of the movie, I thought it was going to be weird. I was a little bit right, but you know what? I still enjoyed it. So I really recommend it.
3 out of 4 stars?
Yeah.
So I figured. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We review movies every day. Not us. Usually me and Evan. He's a different person. But we're doing it every day. So we'll see you tomorrow. And then the next day, Evan. And then the next day. And then the next day. And then...